What's up, bozos? This is Trevor Outlaw, but you can address me as yours rudely. And you're listening to the Sit Down Marks podcast with DB, Primo, and AJ.
Dylan.
Hey, yo.
If I can be serious for a minute.
Oh, yeah. Acknowledge me.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome. Come on in. Sit down. Episode number 171 of the Sit Down Marks podcast. We are live on another Monday. Might turn into a little bit of a regular thing coming up. Who knows? You never know when we might showing up. So make sure you got those noties turned on at sitdownmarks.com and facebook.com. It's the Sit Down Marks. Welcome, everybody. Come on in. Sit down, Mafia. It's got some headlines to talk about today. A lot of wrestling to talk about. But first of all, before we get to it, let's introduce you to my panel of marks here. The guy's been with me from day one, Primo, over on the East Coast, and he loves his French toast. What's going on, bro?
I do love some French toast, specifically stuffed French toast with some syrup, that is. Welcome back. Episode 171. Glad to be here. How about you guys?
Yeah, man, I'm ready to go. And how about our resident indie wrestling expert? And yes, ladies.
Hello, lady.
He is available and ready to go. The intro like no other. The hardest working independent fan on the earth right now. What's going on, Dylan? Welcome, brother.
What's up, boys? We are vibing and thriving. You know, we're back. I don't know if we're back. Wow, I cannot talk tonight. This is a great start. Are we back in black or back in the New York groove? You know, like that's up for you guys to decide, I guess. It's gonna be one of those episodes, I feel like. Let's have some fun.
Yeah, man. Usually when they start off like that, usually we're in for it. Well, I want to thank everybody listening right now on all those podcast platforms out there and sportswireradio.org. I want to thank everybody watching, checking us out on sitdownmarks.com and also on our Facebook page. Really appreciate you hanging out with us today, whether it's right before Raw or right before, the very last game of week 1 of Monday Night Football. But whatever it is, man, thanks for hanging out with us. So let's jump into it, boys. It's hot start time. 5 topics in the world of pro wrestling. Primo, if you will, sir. Topic number 1, man. This one's kind of been hot, on the presses here. A lot of people have been talking about this, man. So let's talk about what's right and what's wrong. So recently, Rhea Ripley, she kind of got mobbed by a bunch of fans while they were over in Paris for Clash in Paris. And, it sparked her to put out something on social media about, the correct way to approach people when autograph seeking. Obviously she, one person seen who she was. She looked a little incognito, and then next thing you know, a mob of people was surrounding her, and it was really kind of like a place for her to go if you see, if you've seen the video. But let me ask you guys, Dylan, let me start with you, man, on this one. Like, what's the proper etiquette for, let's say, you see Terry Funk out in public, God rest his soul. You know what I mean? Like, how would you approach Terry Funk? And, if you really, really wanted to get that autograph?
Like, I feel like like the number one rule is like, don't be a creep. Like that seems pretty obvious. I feel like this happens with Rhea a lot, or
right.
At least she's posting about it a lot. And I'm not like blaming her for that. Like,
sure.
Just don't be a weirdo. Don't be a creep. Be respectful. Like, it's one thing if you're at a show and there's a merch line, you're selling autographs. That's something. If you're walking down the street, like, yeah, you don't want 500 people running up on you, trying to get autographs, trying to take pictures, whatever. Just
right.
Have some common sense. Be respectful. If you're at a dinner or something and you see them, wait till they get done eating. Don't interrupt their meal. If you see them out and about, if they look busy, don't interrupt them. They're people too. As larger than life as they are, they're superstars, but they're still people. Like, just have some common sense,
What we have right now is a teachable moment.
No more proper for that sound bite. Primo, what do you think, man? You see Randy Orton out in public, man. How are you going to approach him?
Well, so I am actually a big believer that everybody puts, their pants on the same way in the morning. We all got problems. We all got things going on. Treat people like people. Don't treat people like zoo animals. Don't be like Dylan said, don't be a creep. Especially like it does happen to male celebrities and superstars, but being a husband and a father of a little girl, I gotta say, it happens too often. Happens way too much to the ladies. So
Sure.
I just, if number one, if somebody looks like they don't want to be bothered, don't bother them.
Right.
People are rushing. People are like going. The airport is already a chaotic place for
Sure.
me, a standard person who nobody gives a crap about except for the people in my household. And I can only imagine being a famous person trying to walk through an airport and then having people, especially somebody like Randy Orton, as you mentioned, shove memorabilia in his face as he's trying to get to his next gate and say, "Hey, can you sign this?" If he snaps back at you, suddenly he's the dick, but he's not really. You're the dick for bothering him.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I went to a convention a few years back, and I remember seeing Christopher Lloyd, and he went and he had a phone call he was taking, and he went into this courtyard of this hotel, and it was like atrium, and everybody could see in. I walked past the atrium, and he's on the phone, and it's like a damn zoo, and everybody was on the outside of the glass taking pictures of Christopher Lloyd on the phone. I'm like, guys, are you
Right.
serious?
Right.
Have some damn humanity.
Right.
Treat people like, if people bothered me when I'm with my kids, I'd be pretty pissed too. Or
Right.
when I'm with my family, or when I'm eating. You got to know there's a time and a place.
Right.
If somebody's at the gym with their earbuds in, I think that probably goes for a lot of the wrestlers. Don't bother them.
Right.
You just,
Right.
I understand that you might think that you have a limited window. You might miss your chance.
Sure.
It's all right. It's not the end of the world.
Right.
They got somewhere to be. If they have times reserved for this kind of thing,
Yeah.
and most of them are friendly. But if you get some backlash for it, you probably deserved it.
Right.
And,
Yeah.
mostly don't be a creep.
And this got
Yeah.
worse when cell phones got out for celebrities, and you know what I mean, it's worse. Everybody wants to get the selfie. Everybody wants to take a picture. Everybody's got a camera, in their hand. Another thing too is I feel like, these wrestlers that get run up to, that it's like I felt if they thought it was more genuine, like you're really going to cherish this autograph forever. You know what I mean? And it's going to be a keepsake, and we'll show it to my son one year or something, like that. But I think most of them think that somebody's just going to try to sell it, make some money off of it. You know what I mean? And so that's probably, not quite as open to doing them as much. But
There are people who like track what gyms they're going to,
yeah,
when they're going to be at the airport. All that. It's
Yeah.
weird, man.
hotels. Yeah. Yeah.
It's
If you
kind of
want-
obvious. Sorry, it's kind of obvious. Like if you are just bumping into somebody at an airport and you're like, "Hey, can I take a picture?" Or, "Hey, can you sign this, napkin or some random thing I just picked up?" There's a difference in that and putting in the work and effort to figure out what airport they're landing at and showing
Right.
up with a binder full of 8x10s and going, "Hey,
Yeah.
can you sign these 30 8x10s for me?" Like,
Oh, yeah.
no, that's pretty
Right.
obvious. Like,
I know.
they're not going to be like,
Right.
"Oh, yeah, let me put my life on hold. Let me miss my
Right.
flight so I can
Right.
do this private meet and greet for you here." Like,
The last
no.
time I was in Illinois with you, DB, whenever I was dropped off at the airport that morning, when I left, Tyrus was at the gate with me.
Mhm.
He was sitting literally like 10 feet from me, and I knew who he was.
Funk is on a roll, Tyrus.
It was, yeah. At the
Did you call
time,
his mama?
he was the NWA champ at the time,
That's right.
and it was what, fucking ass crack in the morning. It was early as hell.
Yeah,
It's
I
like
dropped
5
off
a.m.
early. Yeah.
And I don't want to be bothered that early. I'm certainly not going to bother that big guy that early in the morning. And he sat 2 seats in front of me on the plane. I'm just like,
Right.
I don't. It's just a me thing. I don't really believe in bothering people, but like I said, there's a time and a place.
Time
Right.
and place. Yeah.
Yeah, and if you see somebody getting crowded, don't fucking run up on them like everybody else. You know what I mean? That's just going to make the situation worse. You know, I don't know. You're just going to have to be kind, I guess. But always, if you've already got an autograph from them, you've already seen them, just move on. You know, that's the best thing to do, I guess. I don't know. All right. Topic number 2. AEW pay-per-views are now going to be available on HBO Max. I think this is a good move for AEW. They're kind of trying to centralize, sort of the, opposite model that WWE is doing where everything's spread out. You know what I mean? But it's got to be a good thing for AEW, right?
Yeah, I think so. They already have, Dynamite and Collision on there. It sounds like, if I am understanding everything correctly, which who knows, they are available on Max. There's still a pay-per-view. You still have to pay for it on Max, separate from your subscription. But it sounds like it's also still available elsewhere on pay-per-view. Right. I'm assuming Prime is what they've been on lately.
Yeah,
I know they've been showing up on Triller after they go off the air. So I don't know, like they're not live, but the replay is available. I've watched a couple that way. So it sounds like that still might be an option if you don't want to pay for Max. But I think Max with ads is like 10 a month, and the pay-per-views are going to be 40. So total, that would be 50, the same price as a normal AEW pay-per-view.
Right. Yeah.
So you still a little steep for a monthly pay-per-view, but it's better than 50, I guess. And I think it's a good idea.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it'll put it out to more people for sure.
Yeah, I mean, they already have the rest of their product on HBO Max, so it's like it makes sense for them, especially like you said, centralizing all of their media. And why not? Money. Everybody likes money, right? So it's business is business. I can't be mad at that. At the end of the day, I
think it's a good progress move.
Yeah, it's not 50 different places to watch one brand.
Right.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. Topic number 3, boys. As Primo let us know, we got to talk about it. Cena's last match has been announced. It's actually going to be not far from Primo, December the 13th in Washington, D.C.
It's my home arena.
Yeah. As we just found out, and he just did his last Smackdown in Chicago, which was awesome. We'll talk about that here shortly. But the last match has been announced. How do you guys feel about it being on his last match, being on Saturday night's main event, and not like a big Mania or pay-per-view or something like that? Does it seem less that way to you guys, or is it just is what it is?
I think it's just kind of the way it falls, unfortunately. I mean, it would have been weird if they just randomly furnished a pay-per-view just for this.
Right.
But at the same time, is there nothing in December besides Saturday night's main event? So I don't know.
Right.
No, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, I guess Saturday night's main event is still a little more special than a regular weekly televised show, but
yeah,
it is what it is. And being in DC, that's interesting too. But
yeah, we guessed Boston, didn't we? Or
that's what you would think.
Yeah, I kind of, just to echo Primo, it's kind of just how it falls. Like, if he wants to retire at the end of the year,
whatever the date is where he goes.
Royal Rumble is only a month after that, and Mania is just 3 or 4, depending where it falls. So, if he would have said, "Oh yeah, I'm going to wait till WrestleMania, it's an extra 4 months," I could see that. But as far as the Saturday night main event part, if I understand it right, that's just going to be on Peacock, not NBC and Peacock.
That's what they say.
So I thought it made more sense if it was going to be on NBC, where more casual viewers, as everybody loves to talk about, could just
literally
stumble on it.
The reason I'm keeping Peacock.
Yeah,
exactly. Till this match is over.
It basically is a pay-per-view. It's on Peacock.
Sure. Yeah.
It won't be on regular TV.
It's a good point. It's a good point.
And I don't know if they made their own pay-per-view for December, John Cena's last match. I don't know how different that would be than what this Saturday night main event ends up being. So just the timing of it all, only 7 or 8 more appearances, something like that. We're getting right up on it. It'd be a John Cena show. It'd be a John Cena memorial without him being
You know,
past, if you know what I mean.
now that I think about it, would it have been so weird for them to just main event like even on a 1 hour show, tribute show, where we end the show with his last match, like say Netflix does fights, so Netflix put on a 1 hour show, just live stream
Just him.
John Cena's last match.
Yeah. I don't know. When I think DC, man, I think Batista. Is that going to be his last match?
Do you guys think that John Cena? No, I'm not. This is not a political podcast. So, but do you guys think that John Cena retiring warrants the president showing up at a Saturday night's main event?
Yeah. I mean, probably. You know what I mean?
Being in DC.
Yeah, being in DC, he's all American, Mr. Cena. It makes sense, I guess.
I mean, again, not to get political, but the president's in the Hall of Fame, so
He sure
Right,
is.
he's
It's a real
WWE
thing.
Hall of Famers in the front
Yeah.
row. You can have Jesse Ventura on commentary and Donald Trump in the crowd. Like, let's go.
Yeah.
It's true.
Right. All right, boys. Let's stick with the WWE, man. To wrap it up here. Let's talk a little Clash in Paris, man. We saw this it was about a week ago now. Afternoon show. We had Cena, Logan Paul, Roman Reigns, and Bronson Reed opened up the show. What I thought was a good match. We went home with Becky slapping and beating up Punk to set up the AJ Lee return we're going to talk about. But, did you see anything on this card that you liked? Primo mentioned something about the Street Profits, the Borderlands entrance was pretty cool.
I was a big fan of the Borderlands intro. I gotta say, obviously sometimes the sponsorship entrances or sponsorship matches feel forced, but when they did the Doomslayer with Drew McIntyre not too long ago, and then Borderlands with Street Profits here, that was really cool. I like that a lot. Beyond that, the Fatal 4-Way main event, of course, when of course we know how that ended, and then I really liked I mean, this may be an unpopular opinion, but I liked the John Cena Logan Paul match. That was because of all the callbacks to all of John Cena's rivals.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't hate it, man. Like I'm telling you, like I don't hate Logan Paul matches. I just don't. They're good.
Yeah.
Like kick and just go. Just got to put aside his, But yeah, no, I like Roman Bronson. I thought was good here. Sheamus Rusev was definition of a hoss
another
fight.
banger. Yeah.
I mean, this was decent.
Yeah, I enjoyed it for the most part. I really did like Roman Braun. I liked the main event. I liked Logan Cena way more than I expected to.
Sure.
I like how they played out the thread of like Braun getting kicked out of the arena and Heyman going to the hospital, and like how that thread played throughout the night to where you kind of expected Seth to have help, but you didn't really know who. Was it going to be Becky? Was it going to be somebody else?
Right.
But I do got to humble myself. I got to take an L. When we previewed the pod, we mentioned Becky and Nikki, and you guys were kind of like, eh. And I was like, oh, no, it'd be great. It'd be really good. And I think you guys were a lot closer to accurate than I was. But the rest of it I enjoyed.
I'd be all right not watching a Nikki Bella match ever again. I'm serious. Like, just where I'm at. Like, I feel like that ship has sailed. You know what I mean? I don't know. Y'all with me? Like, I don't know.
I mean, I wasn't clamoring for her to come back to begin with, but I know she has a big following, and she means a lot to a lot of little girls out there.
Sure. Oh yeah. So that's fine. But what's the beef with her and Wade Barrett?
I don't know.
I think, and I heard this on a podcast or on Busted Open or something. I think Wade was in character on the pre-show and said something heelish about her, and she didn't like it or something like that. But who knows if she's just also in character,
Sure.
what's kayfabe, or we getting worked or whatnot.
Yeah, I think this is something along the lines of the current crop of women talent is not like the same as when she was, in her day. So it's like a much more competitive than it was, basically.
Oh, I see.
To me, it's pretty spot specific. Like, I don't want to say I'm okay with never seeing a Nikki Bella match, but I don't know if I need a Nikki Bella title match or
Right.
high profile main event. But like it is what it is. There's something for everybody, I guess.
Sure. I get it.
Real quick,
yeah.
is it just me? I mean, it might just be me. But anytime I see someone besides AJ Styles perform the Styles Clash, I kind of like wince a little bit just because I'm like, it's already a sketchy move to take.
Right.
So it's like to see somebody
Yeah.
do it that doesn't ever do it. I'm just like,
Right.
oh man, hopefully this works.
Yeah.
It's like you're not trained to do that, or
Yeah.
you don't do it as many
And,
times.
like,
so.
What do I know? I'm not a wrestler, but I think the move is more on the person taking it to protect themselves.
Yeah.
Yes.
Than it is the person doing the move. But I agree. Every time I'm like, you know what you're doing, right?
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Don't drop him on its head, please.
The spot I don't like is when the person hanging upside down starts flopping everywhere, and the other person's picking their leg up, trying to clamp them in,
Yeah.
and it's looking
Yeah.
like they're just missing. I'm like, somebody's gonna get dropped on their head here shortly. Like,
That's one of those things I was thinking about with the Sheamus Rusev match. Where it's one of those things where, okay, Primo, just shut up and suspend your disbelief real quick,
Right.
because whenever he has him in his submission and Sheamus has his arms back, I'm like, just move your arms, Sheamus. It's easy. He's just
yeah. Sometimes it's just like, but all right, boys. Topic number 5, and we went home, Clash of Paris with Becky and Seth standing tall, and immediately the rumors started to swirl, and we started thinking about it in our own minds, like who's CM Punk female counterpart to to even up this storyline that they got going here. Well, it makes sense, and after 10 years, AJ Lee returned on SmackDown. That like it was kind of one of the rub your eyes kind of moment, like, man, like after 10 years, she came back. She's abbed up, looks great. Got a brand new shirt. We've been singing "Light It Up" in our heads ever since then. You know what I mean? And another one, Primo talked about, a lot of little girls looked up to and, are going to be watching now, so, haven't seen her in the ring yet. So, but I don't think, I always thought she was more of a natural than say somebody like Nikki. When it came to wrestling, like it hurt, she just looked more fluent. So I'm excited to see her wrestle again. And, it's good to see her back, man. It's a nice jolt to the women's division there.
Yes, definitely. And when she came out, I didn't expect her to look different, but I also didn't expect her to look nearly unchanged. She looks like $1 million. And like, I think that of her time as well, like 10 years ago, she was one of the more athletic women, like her, Naomi, Natalia, so it's like, I feel like she can definitely fit right in with everyone else.
Yeah.
As far as that goes. And there's so many other matches now that she can have, because I was looking at the timeline and somebody had written this somewhere. I don't recall, but whenever she was last in, you had the 4 horsewomen still in NXT. You still had, so it's like them and everybody after them, AJ Lee can now, have a match with.
Yeah. So many people she hasn't mixed it up with.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I realized today or yesterday, her big long title reign, it was still the Divas title.
Yeah.
It's like, it hadn't even changed over back to the women's title. And exactly what Primo just said, like, we already considered her one of the best of her era, but that era was a lot different than what we're in now. I'm excited to see how she matches up with an Asuka, somebody like that. Like, she's good on the character stuff and she's good in the ring. So it's not even like let's just take, the wrestler and put her in the ring and she'll be good there, but she'll be able to float anywhere else. She's really good on the mic. I'm hoping, I don't know if it's been confirmed anywhere yet. I'm hoping she sticks around. It's not just a one-off mixed tag for the ESPN pay-per-view. I'm hoping, she's back for a run.
Yeah. So I'm expecting probably, I guess, tonight on Raw, maybe SmackDown at the very latest, they'll announce this match with, her and Punk versus Becky and Seth.
I did see she is. I'm sorry, Seth. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I did see she is on Raw tonight, so I'm assuming we'll get that tonight. But who knows?
Yeah. She did, take it for whatever it's worth. It was a post I believe she put out on social media, said something like, this run is for you, my wonderful, whatever she calls her fans, weirdos. I don't know.
Kurds.
Like that. Yeah. So
She didn't say that. I did.
but yeah, I don't know. I think she's got to, man. At least for a little while. She's a wrestler. She had to have a little bit of an itch at least. So
Yeah.
But yeah, glad to see her back. It's a good storyline. This is a good addition to the storyline of Seth and Punk too. Like this is because they'll eventually get back to each other, probably, and then we'll blow it off at Mania or something.
Last time she was in WWE, there was just the Divas Championship.
Yeah,
that's it. No women's United States, no Intercontinental,
no heavyweight
team.
She has options now. That's crazy.
That's just crazy. 10 years ago too. Like,
think
about how much has changed. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, boys, that's going to do it for the hot start, man. It's time to move on to the Dropkick discussion. But first, before we do, let's hear a word from the Dreamwave World Heavyweight Champion, Connor Hopkins.
This is Connor Hopkins, the crown jewel, the pretty hate machine himself, and you are listening to the Sit Down Marks podcast.
Love that, Connor. Dreamwave coming up a little over a month. We'll talk about it at the end of the pod. All right, boys. So today, rising stars on the indies. Now, we've talked about, indies that have been, that are just on the cusp of being signed. We had a podcast where we talked about just the unsigned. Now, what we're going to be talking about today is the up and coming names, the names for you to look up and seek out matches if you're not familiar. Our resident indie wrestling expert, Dylan Hager.
Lady.
He's going to be talking about the singles and tag teams that we need to be checking out and watching out for. Like I said, these are not the top unsigned, but the up and coming talent to look out for here. So, Dylan, man, in no particular order, right? There's no 1 to 10 list, or whatever.
Yes.
We're just going to be talking about everybody here, like who's the ones that we should be looking at, looking up the matches on YouTube, trying to find. Because we'll be talking about these guys and girls as top unsigned talent. And I want to mention, too, that coming up here in just a couple of weeks, we're going to have a podcast where we're going to talk about the top unsigned women on the indies. So if we're going to be a little more on the men on this show and the tag teams, and then more on the women on their own little special podcast there. So.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that. I was going to mention that, just a covered our ass statement here. We are doing a whole pod coming up in a couple weeks talking about the top unsigned women. So we got a couple sprinkled in here, but if it's not 50-50, don't come yelling at us. And again, this is in no particular order. So I'm not saying, this is the guy you have to watch the most, and then after you get done with him, you can move on. Just random list. DB and I both threw some names out. Primo threw some names out. Got some names from different people on Instagram. I'll start, just since I'm wearing his shirt, want to shout this guy out. Tommy freaking Davis, out of the St. Louis area, featured heavily on St. Louis Anarchy. He just won the 2025 Action Future Showcase Tournament down as part of SCI weekend. Big match a couple weeks ago now with Gary J at Anarchy. If you haven't watched that, seek it out immediately. Coming up the next Anarchy show, he's got a singles match with Davey Vega. A lot of people high on Tommy right now. I'll mention one or two. The chant fit. She's got a great beard. As tough as they come, he's got those St. Louis strikes. He went chop for chop with Gary, which, if you know anything about Gary J, that's making a statement when you can go chop for chop with Gary. I'll throw one or two more out here, DB, and I'll let you rattle off a couple. Going to go to the Southeast for a couple of these. We got Jamison Shook. Love this kid. Current IWTV tag champ with Jaden Newman. Current TWE champ. You see him a lot at TWE in Chattanooga. Action Wrestling. He won last year's, the 2024 Futures Showcase tournament, and then followed it up this year by winning the whole Scenic City Invitational. First person to go back to back in those two tournaments. Great connection with the crowd. He used to come out to red jumpsuit apparatus, face down, which I loved. And now he's changed that up to Hot to Go by Chappelle Roan or whatever her name is. And everybody else seems to love it. Not really my style.
Sure.
I stood there and did the OHIO dance instead of the Hot to Go dance. But, that's an Easter egg there if you go back and watch SCI. Staying in the South, Tim Bosby, the absolute man, great amateur style, deceptively big. You see him on TV, or see him on the indie TV, IWTV, what have you. And he doesn't look small by any means, but then you see him in person, and the dude is tall. He's jacked, current action champ. Down in the South, he has Dylan Hells as his mouthpiece quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And that combo is it's just money. It needs to be everywhere. Great heel. Like I said, I don't want to say he reminds me of Kurt Angle because that's a lot to put on somebody.
Sure.
But that style, that amateur wrestling, that athletic style. DB, you mentioned Camaro Jackson before the pod.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Camaro is one of those guys that I think comes naturally, to him. It doesn't look like he's working hard in there because he just kind of looks like a natural. He can move. He's quick for a guy with thighs his size. You know what I mean? I think at one point they called him the Quad Father. But he is. He just comes natural, man. He's got like something about him that just just kind of screams superstar a little bit. You know what I mean? And I think once a big company finds a role for him, I think he's going to like really flourish somewhere, because he's kind of guy I feel like he could run on his own. He can be a guy in a tag, with somebody else and uplift them. He's the kind of guy that can lead a faction. You know what I mean? And he's also the kind of guy too that I think like not that he needs it, but would look good with a manager. You know what I mean? Like next to him. You know what I mean? Just because he's he's kind of like that elite status type. A couple guys I want to throw out too. A guy in the Midwest. He's really young, really new. And I'm an old school guy. When I see guys that are in the new school that remind me of the old school guys, it kind of sticks in my mind, and I'll see somebody wrestle and I'll say, man, there's something about that kid that I know is familiar, something like that. And I've been talking about Jack Valor about that for a while, because I've been trying to figure out who it is that he reminds me of. And I was watching an old Barry Windham match the other day. And before I got to the Barry Windham match, I think it was on WCW Saturday Night or something like that. Sam Houston wrestled, and it clicked. And I'm like, that's who Jack Valor, kind of looks like. He's got a drop kick, kind of the same. Kind of like the way he moves, long, slender, big torso. We laughed about, you put a cowboy hat and boots on Jack Valor. He is Sam Houston with a few curls, you know what I mean? And which is, to me, maybe somebody listening to this podcast might not know, but to me, that's like a huge compliment, because Sam Houston's like one of those guys that, he had it, you know what I mean? Jake Roberts, brother. A Barry Windham type, that, looked good in the old days. But I feel like, he's going to be, a guy to watch here later on. We talked about a guy that reminds you of Kurt Angle, not to put it on him, but maybe in the Midwest, the closest we have is Hunter Holcraft. He just won the Zawa Live Championship over the weekend.
Shout out Hunter.
Been Dreamwave Tag Team champ before. He seems to me like the future. You know what I mean? Like every time I see him, I see like no quit. I see, technical mat, expertise, also because he has the background, but also see like he's not scared of any type of other, big man or whatever. Like he can
Yeah.
really break you down. So I think
Yeah.
he's going to be a problem.
Yeah.
And before we go back, we'll kick back to you to finish up. One guy too that I see night in and night out that I never saw until he started coming to Dreamwave, maybe once on TV. But add the wrestling, the gimmick, the entertainment, the fun. Kids love him, men love him, women love him. Bobby Orlando, like how he's got to be moving towards the list of maybe a big company giving him a shot somewhere. And I think he's starting maybe get more in championship title pictures and some of the promotions that he's at. I mean, kids love the GOAT. A full package is kind of what Bobby is. You know what I mean? Like he seems like he's already figured it out. And of what he's good at. And then one more kid out of Chicago too that kind of been talking about lately. I kind of been watching because he reminds me of like a British Bulldog type, Dynamite Kid type. Is a guy. I think he's out of Freelance. CJ Martin. I got to see him wrestle in Dwight. I think he's one of Corbin's guys in his faction or something like that right now. I think with Sean Galway and the boys. But yeah, he's another guy I think should keep an eye on. So, who else you got on the list, man?
Yeah, I got a couple more here. First, back up just a second. Bobby Orlando might have the best theme song in all of wrestling. Original song. Bobby is the GOATest. Bobby is your mom. It's
Right.
phenomenal. It's the best thing Max Caster's ever done in his career. I will stick by that. That's a story for a different podcast. Back to these rising stars. You got a couple of females on my list. I said, we'll talk a lot more about them in a couple weeks.
Yep.
But Blair Onyx I had on my list. She's been around for a minute, but I'd say in the last 8 to 12 months, I think it's all just clicked for her, or at least it seems that way from sitting in the front row. She's got a great character, a great gimmick that's different from anybody else.
See,
it used to be like more spider focused. Now it's more like, I don't really know how to even describe it.
creepy doll.
Zombie, creepy doll is a great way to
doll.
put it.
Yeah.
Talking to Source constantly, but she's got the movements and the facials down, and it's all clicking in the ring. It's not just the gimmick and then the bell rings and she's no good. No, she's putting it together in the ring. You see her all over the Midwest. She's become a regular at Glory Pro. She's at Freelance a lot. Mm-hmm. We saw her at Dreamwave teaming with Abaddon here recently. She's really been putting it together. I want to give her some shout out there. And another one, Mackenzie Morgan, a girl out of, I think she's out of Memphis, but out of, we'll call it that Mid-South area. Excuse me. There's something, she's got the it factor. That's probably the best way to put it. Super athletic. She's got a good look. I've seen her, I think, once at each Glory in Anarchy. I know she does a lot for Memphis wrestling. She has done a lot in Chattanooga, TWE, done a lot down in Texas for, I think it's called Uncanny or something like that. But she's one to keep an eye out for. Got something special about her. A couple more here on the list. Anakin Murphy is just the absolute dude, inside and outside of the ring. I know we're talking more in-ring wrestling, but just a great human.
Let me say this real quick. If anybody's never seen Anakin Murphy, would it be kind of fair if I described him as like the Darby Allin of the Indies?
Yeah. No, that's a great way to put it.
All right, cool. Just people also be more intrigued by him,
Yeah, just like this week, it kind of clicked. Not like look wise, but style wise. He reminds me a lot of Spike Dudley. Maybe that's just me, but a little Spike Dudley there.
Yeah.
He, it's not just the entrance, but he comes out to My Chemical Romance, Helena. Some of the biggest pops I've ever heard. Anarchy and in TW in Chattanooga, both like equally as big. Place just going crazy for him. The Darby Allin, I hadn't really put that together. That's a really good way to put it. Just will put his body through whatever it takes. He has had a couple big matches in Anarchy, like with Gary challenging Vega for the Destination title. Had an incredible match for H2O. He's been doing a lot more deathmatch stuff with Danny DeMonto for H2O, where he just, it's one of those matches where you have to be tough because you're going to be stupid. So you have to be tough enough to back it up.
Ugh.
And yeah, but he survived that. Got a little bit of an injury now, but he'll be back. He'll be back at St. Louis Anarchy in a couple weeks, wrestling Billy Starks, which is a match I have been dying to see. A couple guys, I almost left them off the list just because we have put them over so much.
You just
But
made
if you can't count on your people to say good things about you, who can you count on?
Who can, right? Yeah.
So, got to mention the new guys again. Wearing the hat, of course. Jake Bosch, Scott Stanley. Scotty's out with a bit of an injury right now. Can't wait for him to get back.
Okay.
Bosch is still killing it. You know, at one point they had tag titles at like Glory and WrestleMax and Dreamwave, and I think Destination 6 just had all the gold wrapped up over the Midwest. So take a little bit of a pause right now as Scotty gets healthy, and they're going to come back better than ever. I just know it. Want to mention Casey Owens out of the Southeast. Another guy down in the TWE area. He has a different look. It's a little bit on the short side, but he can back it up in the ring. What did I call it? His style, I called it like a hard-nosed, like grinder kind of. Like he's not real flashy. He's going to get in there and just beat you up, which I love. It's not a whole lot of flash. He's not going to do a 450, but he's
all
just
fists, no flips.
Almost, yes, exactly. Kind of reminds me of Taz, maybe not quite the submission game, but that kind of style. He had a match with Manders to kick off Scenic City Weekend. It was on the TWE show. That was just incredible. Main evented for Manders' WXW title. Manders put him over real strong after. Everybody I've talked to down in the South, like he's one of the guys to keep an eye on. Keep an eye out on Casey Owens. And I had one more tag team on my list, and then I'll just mention a couple names that got thrown out there. But the other tag team I had to wrap up, Latino's Most Wanted, Coda Hernandez, Sabin Gage. They do a lot as a team. They do a lot of singles.
Yeah, Sabin's gotten so good, man.
Yeah, I remember when he first started, he might have something, and sure enough, yeah, he does. They're, ironically enough, in a blood feud at Freelance right now against each other. Over, I think it's the Legacy title. I think it's what they call that. But they've held tag gold together in Black Label. They just won the Revolver tag belts over the weekend. Kind of a lucha style, but not the overly flippy high spot, but like a lucha base. I kind of get Santana vibes from Coda Hernandez.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's just because they wrestled each other recently. And I'm not saying he's all the way there yet by any means.
Sure.
But yeah, they really like what I've seen from both of them. And I threw it up on my Instagram this week to wrap this up. Just, hey, we're talking about the Uprising Stars. Who are some names to watch out for? Just a couple of those just to shout out. We don't have to go deep into it. But somebody said Hunter Holdcraft. We already talked about him. Somebody said Fallon Gray. Spoiler alert, we might be talking a lot more about Fallon here in a couple weeks.
Yep.
Somebody mentioned Cody Lane. Not dissing Cody by any means. I kind of had him higher than this list. I kind of had him on that next to be signed list because I have no negative whatsoever to say about Coco. And one more former guest of the pod, Zach Abstract. A couple people mentioned Zach. Keep an eye on Zach. And I think that wraps up my list. Unless you have any more you want to talk about, DB.
Yeah, no, I'll just mention on Zach. Zach's, he's putting the time in. He just spent a couple months in California just wrestling out there to be able to wrestle, a bunch of different people. He's been to Mexico, and did a big run over there for a while. So he's really getting versatile, and so look out for him here pretty soon. So. All right, that's going to do it for the Dropkick discussion of the week, the rising stars on the indies. Want to thank everybody for checking us out on all those podcast platforms out there. It's time to go home, Primo, if you will, sir. Let's hear a little word from Billy Starks.
This is Space Jesus Billy Starks, and you're listening to Sit Down Marks podcast with Primo, DB, and AJ.
We'll remind everybody to follow at Sit Down Marks on all our social media. Also, go to sitdownmarks.com. subscribe there. And I want to thank everybody for listening and checking us out each and every week. Before we get to the rest of everything that's going on, Dylan, let's talk about it, man. What you doing this weekend? Where you headed to for any wrestling? I don't know. I just tried it out.
Okay.
It work?
I wasn't sure what that was. I thought my audio was messed up.
Combat!
So I haven't decided what I'm doing. It's Monday. I'm still up in the air. Let's run through some of these cards real quick, and I'll kind of explain myself. GCW is back. We finally have a big weekend. I feel like the last month has been nothing but like 1 and 2 show weekends. I need something to do. There's a big weekend. GCW in the Midwest. They are in Detroit on Friday, Indy on Saturday. Just highlight a couple matches. Friday night, Detroit, Shotzi Blackheart versus Megan Bain. That should be fun. Mance Warner versus Beastman is just going to be a brawl. 4-way tag match I'm really excited for. You got Bang and Matthews. You got Gringo Loco and Arez. You got Man Like Doris and Leon Slater. You got Marcus Mathers and Joey Janela. It's going to be nonstop action from the first bell. They follow that up Saturday night in Indy with a really stacked card. Speaking of Billy Starks, Billy's challenging Effie for GCW title Saturday. Manders is back, taking on Calvin Tankman. Spider Nate Webb is back. Everybody's favorite teenage dirtbag, taking on Matt Cardona. Still a lot more to be announced for both of those shows. Like I know the indie show Saturday has Marcus Mathers on it, has Gary J on it, has Bobby Beverly on it, but those matches have not been announced yet. Friday night, Chicago Style is back. Triple threat for the title. Marseille Rocket defending against both Conan Lycan and Rafael Quintero. Honestly, we probably should have had Quintero on that list. I know we didn't name everybody on the indies, but sure. Quintero is just killing it everywhere right now.
Agreed.
Match I'm really excited for. The Hype. We just talked about Hunter. The Hype teaming up against Maggie Lee and Heather Reckless. That's going to be a lot of fun. One of those matches I didn't know I needed until I saw the graphic announced.
Yeah.
And also in Chicago on Saturday, AAW is back. They're calling it a bond of hate. Robert Anthony defending against Isaiah Moore, defending the Heritage title.
Yep.
Colt Cabana is back. We saw some of this unfold, DB. Colt Cabana is back, teaming with Chuck Stone to take on Joe Alonzo and Joe's assistant, social media dude, whatever his name is. I should have a better plug for that. I'm sorry. Danny Briggs is there taking on Davey Vega. That's going to be really good. And the new AAW champ is Trevor Lee. He's being advertised along with Jake Something and a handful of other talent that, again, doesn't have a match announced. And then 2 tournaments on Sunday to mention real quick. Alpha One up in Canada. They have their annual King of Hearts tournament. Cody Lane's in it. Shannon Thomas is in it. Alec Price is in it. I know the winner gets a future title shot. Alec Price has one of their mid-card titles. I don't know if he's defending that all the way through the tournament or just the first round. There's a big battle royal for one of their titles that has Big Zico defending against a whole list of people, including Heath Slater and Laney Luck and Swoggle. That'll be a fun show. Man. Alpha One's always a good time.
Yeah.
And then finishing it up, Deadlock Pro DPW has their Carolina Classic annual tournament. First round matches include Anthony Henry versus Trevor Lee.
Where's this at in Carolina? Do you know?
I do not know. I did not put it down.
Yeah,
did not put it down.
I have to look that up. I'm just curious where they hold that at.
I haven't seen as much as I would like, but I've heard a ton of good stuff about Deadlock Pro. They have something good going on down there. That will all get broken down into more detail on my preview. Find it at my Twitter at DHagerJ15. That's DHAGERJ15. Whenever I post it, it will be pinned to the top of the page. So as far as my plans, I am completely torn 3 ways between going to AAW or going to GCW and Indy, or staying home and not spending money and watching like 13 hours of college football. I know no matter what I choose, I will have a good time and be pumped.
Sure.
But I will also feel like I'm missing out on something from the other 2, no matter which way I go. So That's still to be determined, I guess we'll say.
I'm gonna check in with you at the end of the week, see which one you end up deciding to go to.
Yeah.
All right, Volume 3 of Dreamwave Prelude is available right now, where we showcase the stars of tomorrow in Dreamwave Wrestling. All those are available on sitdownmarks.com. We'll remind you to go check that out. And if you've been living under a rock, maybe you do. I don't know. No judgment here. But we announced on that very show and also on social media that we're going to be having the very first Rising Star Battle Royal on the pre-show for Dreamwave's Trick or Treat show on October the 11th. So going to be a big show there. Excited to do this battle royal on the pre-show, and of course the Prelude cameras will be there doing the tapings. So we'll be bringing the coverage of that match to you in November. So make sure you check that out. So I want to remind you too, Dreamwave Trick or Treat is October the 11th. You can get your tickets at DWTIX.net to check out all this. You can also see the Boogeyman. You can meet and greet with Bushwhacker Luke, Coco Beware. It's going to be a big time last outdoor show for the year. It's going to be awesome. So make sure you check that out. But let's talk about what's coming up next. Well, next week, a brand new DB's Territory Treasure is going to drop, where I'm talking about Jim Crockett Promotions senior referee Tommy Young.
Nice.
Lots of memories and stuff of Tommy Young. So I'm excited for this one to drop. So, and if you don't know who Tommy is, this podcast will inform you of everything that Tommy was, and is to the business. So make sure you check that out. And then the following week, we talked about it throughout the night. We're going to be one for the ladies, right? Top unsigned women in wrestling right now, episode 172. That'll be out in about 2 weeks. So we'll be doing just like we did tonight, just coming up with a list of the women that you need to be looking up and checking out on the indies. So that'll be coming up. A lot of fun stuff coming up in October as well. Also, we just locked it in not long ago. We're coming back to Zawa Live in November the 8th. We're going to be back there for Zawa Fest, the exact same one we sponsored last year. So look for matches to be announced on that. So excited to get back up to Nelson, Illinois for Zawa Live. I want to thank Zeke and everybody out there for bringing us back to Zawa, getting ready for it. So want to thank everybody for listening, man. Really appreciate it. Thanks everybody for checking out Prelude. Got a lot of good feedback on that, and just thank everybody for checking out the pod. And football is back, so we're at the podcast excited about that. So if you're into football, happy football season. So all right, boys, about time to take this train on out of the station. Jake, me today. I'm gonna be dangerous with the soundboard, I think. I don't know. So, but anyway, if you're new to the pod and you're watching the pod right now, hang out till after the outro rolls as we look at old wrestling poster. And I got one from 2012 today. So, all right, boys, you excited for to see how this whole Cena thing runs? And I feel like AJ's the biggest. AJ Lee's the biggest story in wrestling right now, but the constant, is Cena. And I wanted to mention this. Get you out of here on this. I'm proud of the WWE, because they probably could be charging $100 for these Cena t-shirts that they're selling at these shows.
Oh yeah.
And I've gotten some word of some people that were at shows, and I just always ask, how much are the Cena shirts? And most of them have been around $40 bucks.
Standard price, yeah.
That's fair. Yeah.
So, shout out for not price gouging, because you go to Friday Night Smackdown, you're gonna want to, I'm sure they probably sold a gazillion of those John Cena Cubs shirts, in Chicago last week. But at least
after you spend $500 on a single ticket, like $40 for a shirt's not terrible. Yeah.
Ain't that the truth?
Ought to come with a free shirt and a beer.
Yeah. I mean, those tickets for DC are going to be monstrous.
Man, yeah. I'm curious to see. Unfortunately, I won't be in town. I'll be back in my home state, but I'm curious to see how much they'll be.
Yeah. All right, boys. For Primo and Dylan, I am DB the Dirty Bird, and we are the Sit Down Marks podcast. We'll see you guys next time. Keep spreading the good word of wrestling. We'll see you later.
Adios.
All right, boys, I got a fun one for you today. No Way Out 2012. AJ Lee is back in WWE. So this one was more than 10 years ago. But how about this one, man? 2012, No Way Out. You got Bryan, Daniel Bryan laying on the track, and main event for this card. It was in East Rutherford, New Jersey. Main event was Cena with Vince McMahon beating Big Show and John Laurinaitis in a steel cage.
Huh.
Man, yeah, that's during the time when Punk was champ, but Cena still main evented every single show.
And as you see at the top of this poster that I'm noticing is the yes chant, but it was before it was super popular. Right?
You are
looking into the future, maybe. Maybe he was doing it.
Yeah, like his hair's short here. You know what I'm saying?
That might.
Maybe he was doing it
over a year though,
or something.
Because Mania 30 was 2014. This is 2012. That I don't know. Yeah, maybe he was doing it and it just had it caught on yet. I don't know.
So Punk was the WWE champ. Yeah. Tell me who the world champ was.
It's
Punk was WWE champ.
Yeah.
Christian. No.
It's either Del Rio or Sheamus.
Sheamus.
Okay.
Yeah. Sheamus had won the Royal Rumble, I believe, in St. Louis earlier that year.
Yeah, and then that's when he beats Bryan.
And then he beats Bryan to
18 seconds.
Yep.
Yeah.
At the kiss.
That's how it all unfolded. But
yeah,
pretty good one there. But I thought that one was interesting.
I like the poster.
Back.
That's a cool poster.
Yeah.